So welcome everybody to this latest video on 162 Maths, and in this video we'll be going over the AQA GCSE Foundation June 2020 Paper 3 Calculator paper. So let's get started on this paper. So looking at question 1, it says what is 6.2819 to 2 decimal places? So again, all we need to do here is just simply round these two numbers up to 2 dp, so it's 28. The number next to it is a 1. So the absence stays, so it stays the same, so it's 6.28. Question 2 says 50% of a number is 40, circle the number. Well, if 50% is 40, then the number is going to be double of 40, which is 80. And says circle the correct statement, so which of these is true? Now remember, the inequality always points at the smaller number, and so this one is our third option is our correct answer. Question 4, it says shapes A, B, C and D are on a square grid, and the question is asking us to circle which shapes are congruent. Now congruent basically means which shapes are identically the same, in which the correct answer you should have is A and C. For question 5a, it says here are 3 cards. It says all 3 cards are used to make the answer to the calculation is a multiple of 10. So to make a multiple of 10, all you need to do is make sure that the single number is going to be a 5. So you can either have 83, so it's going to be actually ending in an even number. There is only one answer for this, which is going to be 38 times 5. Question 5b, it says use all 3 cards to make the answer to this calculation a single digit. So again, looking at the numbers we've got, we want to try and have the smallest possible multiplication, so that's going to be 5 times 3, which is 15, take away 8, which gives us 7. Now you could have the 3 and the 5 the other way round, and that would be absolutely fine, but any of those answers would be the mark. Question 5c says use all 3 cards to make the correct calculation line. Let me just remind myself of what those 3 cards were. So 3, 5 and 8. So let's have a look. So we want to try and get it equal to 1. So what we want to do is make sure that the numbers are the same. So I'm going to go for 3 and we're going to go for 3, 9 and 3, which makes 9, and then 5 and 8 don't make that, so let's get rid of that. So that's not going to be the option. We can make 11, so then 5 is going to be at the top, and we've got 3 and 8. So again, you can swap those 2 cards around, but basically as long as you've got those 2 numbers add up to 11 and the bottom 2 numbers add up to 11, you should be absolutely fine. Question 6, it says Greg wants to buy a games console that costs £267.50, already has £125, he will save £7.50 each week. How many weeks will he need to save? So the first thing we need to do is deduct how much he saved, so we take away £125. So on the calculator, which is just going to pop up now, in which we've got 267.5 minus 125 equals, and that's going to equal 142 and 50 pence. Now what we then want to do is divide that by £7.50, see how many weeks it's going to take, and so divided by 7.50 equals 19, so it's going to be 19 weeks. Good luck, Greg. Moving on to question 7, it says match the algebra to the correct description. So here we've got x equals 6 equals 24, and that is an equation, and we've got 5x plus 3, which is an expression. Now a term is basically a component of one of these, so 4x would be a term, 12 would be a term, 6x would be a term, 24 would be a term, but neither of those are terms. Moving on to question 8, it says a team of 2 players is picked from these people. And it says the team must have 1 female, 1 male player. Complete the list of players. So going through this now, whenever you're doing a list and outcome, you always want to have like a structured list way of doing it, systematic way of doing it. So I'm going to keep Amy the same. So we've got Amy and Eric. So I'm going to have Amy and Rob, and then Tim. And then I'm going to move on to the next female, which is Laura, and then Laura can have Eric, Rob, and Tim. So I've just got L. So all in all, you should have 6 possible options. Moving on to question 9, it says 500 people started a race, 280 were men, the rest were women. 80% of the men finished the race, and 30 of the women did not finish the race, and we need to complete. Guessing, no, did it say we need to complete it? Yes, we do need to complete the frequency diagram. So first of all, let's just zoom out a little bit. just so we've got that information. So there we can see. So from this, we can see in our first bit of information, we've got 280 were men. So this is going to be 280, which means that the women is going to be 220. Now, from this, it also says that 30 women did not finish the race, which means that this is going to be 30. So that means that this number here is going to be 190. In terms of the men, it says 80% finished the race. So 80% of 280, well, that's going to be 0.8 times 280. So again, on the calculator, 0.8 times 280 equals 224. So that's 224. And then this answer is going to be 56. Moving on to question 10, it says put these distances in order of size. So we've got 1.8 kilometers, 1,600 meters, and 1.75 kilometers. So what you want to try and do is convert them so they're all the same. So this is 1.6 kilometers, and this is 1.75 kilometers. And so now they're all in decimals and they're all in kilometers, I can now order. So the smallest length is 1,600 meters. The next distance is 1.75 kilometers. And the longest length is 1.8 kilometers. Question 11, it says AB is a straight line. Work out the angle of X. Well, they're on a straight line, so they all add up to 180. So 180, take away 103, minus 49. And play safe and do this on a calculator. Minus 103 equals 28. Moving on to question 12, it says some players were asked the shirt colour of their football team. Each answer was either white, blue, red or green. The pie chart is drawn to represent the answers. The two sectors are shown. And it says the number who answered red is 3 times the number of those who answered green. Complete the pie chart. So first things first, we need to work out what the angles are. So if we do 360 minus 75 minus 165, again on the calculator, 360 minus 75 minus 165 equals 120. So from this, what we then need to do is looking at this bit of information that we know that red to green is in the ratio of 3 to 1. So then if I need to share 120 degrees in the ratio of 3 to 1, then 3 plus 1 is 4. 120 divided by 4 is 30. And then 3 to 1, red to green, times that by 30, which gives me 90, times that by 30, that gives me 30. So then from this, what I can then do is then measure those two angles. Now you will need to measure this accurately. Again, 90 degrees is just going to be straight across there. And so this here is green. No, it's going to be red, sorry. And that is at 90 degrees and green is at 30 degrees. Then part B says that there were 600 players altogether. How many answered white? So in terms of white, that's 75. So for this, we've got 75 over 360. So that's a proportion in terms of angles, and we multiply that by 600. So then if I then do 600 times that fraction of 75 over 360 equals 125. Now, if I wanted to simplify the fraction of 75 over 360, that's fine. Again, unnecessary for this particular question. Question 13, it says Millie has an equal number of 20p's and 50p coins. The value of a 20p coins is £2.80. Work out the value of her 20p and 50p coins. So in terms of this, what we want to do is do £2.80 divided by 0.2 to find out how many coins, how many 20p pieces she actually has. So 2.8 divided by 0.2 equals 14 coins. So from this means that 14 times 0.5 is going to be £7. So in terms of the total amount, I've just got to add those two numbers up. So it's going to be 7 plus £2.80 which is £9.80. For question 14, it says, here are ticket prices for a theme park, and we've got adult and children and special offers. Freya buys 3 adult tickets and 4 children tickets. She pays the cheapest possible total cost. How much does she save compared to buying all the tickets separate? So in terms of separate, let's just do that up here so we've got the screen. So separate tickets is going to be 3 lots of 48 plus 4 times 26. Now if I type that into my calculator, what do I get? Well, 3 times 48 plus 4 times 26, and it comes up to a total of £248. Now in terms of the prices of tickets, well, 3 adults and 2 children, all I need to do is simply add those two amounts up, so which I'm going to get £202. So in terms of the special offer, it's going to be 82 plus 120, which is £202. So how much does she save? Well, she saves 248 minus 202, which is going to be £46. Just stick a 46 there. Question B, it says Leroy buys 5 adult tickets. He uses a voucher that reduces the price of the ticket by a quarter. How much does he pay? So 5 adult tickets, so 5 times, and the adult ticket was £48. And so 48 times 5, which is 240. Now a quarter of 240 is £60. So how much does he pay? So he pays 240 minus 60, which is £180. For question 15, it says n is negative. Circle the expression that is positive. Well, that's going to be this answer here, n squared, because a negative times a negative gives you a positive answer. Question 16 says, here is a formula, and we've got y equals 3.6x. Draw a graph from the values. Now for this, what we need to do is do a table of values. So here we just got x and we've got y. Now for this, you just need 3 simple points, in which I'm just going to use the first 3. I'm going to use 0, 5 and 10. Actually, I'm going to go for change that. You could use any of them. I'm going to go for 10 and 20, just so that we've got nice whole numbers. It's easy for us to plot. So again, so getting our first value, it's going to be 0 times 3.6. This value here is going to be 10 times 3.6. And this value here is going to be 20 times 3.6. So we're working out what this is going to be. So that's going to be 0. This is going to be 36. And this is going to be 72. So what I then need to do is plot those. So plot 0, 0. At 10, it's at 36, which is there. And at 20, it's at 72, which is there. And then all I then need to do is draw a straight line. And let's use the colour through those 3 points, and make sure that your graph does go through 20. Now whenever you're plotting these graphs, I would always go right to the boundary of your graph that's been given, or the graph paper that's been given. So let's say about there. You wouldn't lose marks if you went over, but that should be there. So looking at question 16b, it says that in the formula y equals 3.6x, y is the speed in kilometers per hour and x is the speed in meters per second. And what we want to do is we want to convert 50 kilometers per hour into meters per second, giving your answer to the nearest whole number. So for this, what we've got is we've got that y equals 50, and what we want to do is we want to find x. So what we've got is 50 equals 3.6x. So if I divide by 3.6, I should end up with x, so x equals 50 divided by 3.6, and if I get the calculator, do 50 divided by 3.6, I get an answer of 13.8 recurring, so equals 13.8 recurring, and if I want to round that up to the nearest whole number, I get an answer of 14. Then for question 16C, it says convert 30 meters per second into miles per hour, and then 1 mile per hour equals 1.6. So the first thing we need to do is convert meters per second into miles per hour, and I do that by kilometers per hour, and I do that by using this formula. So I need to do 30 times 3.6, which is 108, and then I need to convert that into miles per hour. So I divide that by 1.61, which gives me an answer of 67.121 decimal place. So looking at question 17, it says that a record was kept of the number of days that 25 students were absent in one term. The chart represents the results. So for this, and the question is asking us to work out the mean number of days that students were absent. So if we look at X, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we've got the frequency. And so here we've got a frequency of 5, 6, 8, we've got 2, and we've got 4. And what I then need to do is create an fx column. And how do I then create that fx values? Well, I just simply multiply these numbers and work that out. So this is going to equal 25. So from this I've got 5, 12, 24, 8 and 20. And then what I then need to do is add those numbers up. So again, just get the calculator, which I've got 5 plus 12 plus 24 plus 8 plus 20, and that gives me an answer of 69, of course. So looking at the estimated, or the mean, not the estimated mean because we've actually got all values. So the mean is equal to, equals 69 divided by 25, in which we get 69 divided by 25 equals 2.76. So it then says one of the students is chosen at random. Work out the probability that the student was absent for less than 4 days. Well, less than 4 days is, well, how many students were less than 4 days? Well, that's going to be 8 plus 6, which is 14, plus 5, which is 19. So it's going to be 19 over 25. And again, how I've done that is just simply add the first three numbers. So 5 plus 6 plus 8, which is 19. And then there's my answer. For question 18, it says Bobby has these notes, and it says the total value of the notes is £T. Write a formula for this. So the formula is going to be, well, it's £5 times 3 plus x times £10. Now if I was doing this, then that would be 15 plus 10x. So then what that's going to be is 10x plus 15. Or should I say equals t? Let's not forget that. For the next one, question 19, it says the side elevation and plan of a cuboid are shown on the centimeter grid. Draw the front elevation of this grid. Well, looking at this, it's basically going to be a 2 by 3. So that's 2 and that's 3. So then all I then need to do is draw my side elevation. So it's going to be 2 up and 3 down. So though I'm not showing very good practice, you should be doing this with a ruler. You can shade it. So question 20 says to the nearest 1000 there are 18,000 people at a festival. Write down the minimum number of festivals. Well, again, I've got to the nearest 1000, divide that by 2 is 500. So the upper bound is going to be 17,500 and 18,500. And so the lowest bound is 17,500, and the maximum number, well, because the maximum number is 18,500, although it can't equal that number, it's got to be one less because dealing with people, not decimals. So it's going to be 18,499. Next question then says circle the equation that is parallel to y equals 5x plus 2. Well, parallel lines have the same gradients. I'm looking which gradient has a gradient of 5, and that's going to be our second option. So the answer is y equals 5x minus 2. For question 22, it says ABCD represents a plan of a field. There is a path across the field that starts at B and is the same distance from BA and BC. Now for this, what we need to do is do what we call an angle bisector. And the angle that we need to bisect is basically this line here and this line here. Now to do this, and again it's very difficult to do on the computer, so if you set your compass, it's a rather dodgy looking compass, is set your distance at any particular length. If you put the pin on B, draw an arc so that it crosses both the two lines. Now again, do not adjust your compass. Put a pin on one of the intersection points and draw an arc. Put the pin on the other intersection sign and draw another arc so they cross. And then with a ruler, what you then need to do is draw a straight line through B, through that intersection point, and make sure that it crosses A and D because it's crossing the field, and that's what it should have. Question 23, it says A is 2 times the length of B. So what you should have is A to B. So then looking at the correct ratio, well, if A is 2 times B, looking for 2 to 1. For question 24, it says use Pythagoras' theorem to work out the value of x. So again, first thing I want to do is label the sides. So the side opposite the right angle is C. I've got A and B. So I've got 32 squared plus 60 squared equals C squared. So C squared equals, and again, put that on your calculator, shift it so you can actually see the numbers. So we've got 32 squared plus 60 squared equals 4624. And so C equals the square root of 4624. And if I type that into my calculator, I get an answer of 68. Then moving on to question 25, it says Chris visits the library. He cycles to the library in half an hour at a speed of 12 miles per hour. He stays in the library for 1 hour, then cycles home. Work out the speed in miles per hour at which Chris cycles home. So what I'm focusing on is this area here. Now in terms of speed, speed is equal to distance divided by time. Now the time I'm wanting is in hours, so it's 45 minutes, and to convert that into hours I put it over 60, so it's going to be 3/4, which kind of makes sense because if you talk about 45 minutes, it's 3/4 of an hour. So that's my time. Now in terms of the distance, well, if he's travelling 1 hour at 12 miles per hour, then he's going to be travelling 12 miles. So in 30 minutes at the same speed, he's going to be doing half the distance. So the distance then is 6 miles. So I'm doing 6 divided by 0.75 or 3/4, whichever floats your boat. And if I type that into my calculator, so 6 divided by 0.75 equals 8. And so the speed is 8. Question 26 says these two triangles are similar. Work out the value of A. So what I need to do is first of all find the scale factor by picking the two corresponding sides. So the scale factor is 20/16, which is 5/4, which equals 1.25. And then to work out what A is, it's going to be 12 divided by 1.25 because I'm going from big to small. So I divide by the scale factor. And 12 divided by 1.25 is 9.6. For question 27, it says circle the expression equivalent to 1x minus 1 squared. Well, x minus 1 squared equals x minus 1 x minus 1. And if I expand the brackets out, x squared minus 1x minus 1x plus 1. So it's x squared minus 2x plus 1, which is our fourth option. Then looking at question 28, it says here is some information about 26 houses. A, B and C are all different numbers. The mean number of bedrooms is 3.5. Work out the possible set of A, B and C. Now if the median is 3.5, then our median needs to be this halfway stage here, because that value there is 3.5, which means I need to have the same number of houses above that line as there is below. Now 26 divided by 2 is 13. So these two numbers need to add up to 13, and these three numbers need to add up to 13. So if the three numbers need to add up to 13, so then what I've got is I've got 13 plus equals 8 plus c, so c equals 5. So there's one of my numbers straight away. Now what I then need to do is think of two numbers. Now 7 take away 13 take away 7 is 6. So a and b need to add up, a plus b need to add up to 6. Now I can't use 5. Now a and b are different numbers, which states there. So the possible combination I can have, well, there's going to be 3 possible answers I can give. Now for c, there's definitely got to be 5. Now what I've then got to do is pick two different numbers that add together to make 6, but I can't use the number 5 in either for a or b. So one possible combination could be 4 and 2. Another combination could be 2, 4 and 5. And my third option could be 6, 5 and 0. Now you can't have 6, 0 and 5. That's wrong. And the reason for that is because if b was 0, then the median would be shifted up to 3, because then I'd have 13 above 3, below 3, and 13 above 3. So then that means the median would be 3. So the only 3 possible answers I could have is any of those combinations. Moving on to question 29, it says that a rectangle has a length of 60 centimeters and a width of 40. The length increases by 15 and the width by 10%. The perimeter decreases by 20. Well, Sue says, Ronaldo fans. Sue says the perimeter decreases by 25% because 15 plus 10% equals 25%. Is she correct? Well, let's have a look. So the original perimeter is going to be 60 plus 40 plus 40, which is 200 centimeters. Now, in terms of the new lengths, well, it's going to be 15% off. So new lengths are going to be minus 15%. So 15% of 40 is 0.15 times 40 equals 6. So take away 6 is going to be 34. And 60 and 15%. Actually, I've done that wrong. That should be 10%. So 10% off 40 equals 4. So the new length is going to be 36 centimeters. 15% of 60 is 0.15 times 60 equals 9. So that's going to be 9. So the new length is going to be 51 centimeters. So then to work out the new perimeter, it's going to be 51 plus 51 plus 36 plus 36. And let's just type that in. 51 plus 51 plus 36 plus 36 equals 174. And they're my two perimeters. And then to work out the percentage change, well, the formula to use is the difference divided by the original times by 100. Now, again, to work out the percentage change, to compare it to the 25% that Sue says, well, the difference between the two numbers is 26. So it's 26 divided by the original, which is 200, times 100. And if I type that into my calculator, I get a 13% decrease. So is Sue correct? No, Sue is wrong, as it's only a 13% decrease, not 25%. Then moving on to question 30, it says expand and simplify fully. So again, using my loops, I get 8c plus 12, and then there is no number in front of brackets, so I'm going to put it's minus 1. So minus 1 times 5c is minus 5c, and minus 1 times minus 1 is positive 1. Then collecting the c's together, I got 8 take away 5, which is, oh, not 8, it's 3. And 12 plus 1 is 13. And then looking at our final question, which is looking at column vectors. So for this, I need to work out what 4c plus 3d is. So what I'm going to do is I've got 4 lots of c, which is 4, 9, plus 3 lots of d, which is 2 minus 5. So combining these two, if I multiply this vector by 4, I get 16 and I get 36. Plus, and if I multiply this vector by 3, I get 6 and minus 15. So what I then need to do is 16 plus 6, which is 22, and 36 minus 15 is 21. So then what I've got is 22 and 21. And there is my final answer. Now we'll put the grade boundaries for this individual paper in the description below, and I'll also include the overall grade boundaries. So if you've done all 3 papers in this set, you can add up your scores and see what your overall GCSE grade is going to be.